Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting, I think. Anyway, this whole idea of toxic rainmakers. The folks who bring in those stellar results, but leave a trail of destruction behind them.
Yeah, you got it. It's like so fascinating how we can get so caught up in those big wins that we miss the cracks forming right under our feet. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So we've got this really thought-provoking article here and some research findings that back it up, and I'm kind of ready to just jump right in. Like, are those impressive numbers really worth the cost?
Big question. And a tough one, too. Let's break it down.
So first things first, right? Paint a picture for me. What are we looking for? How do we spot one of these toxic rainmakers out in the wild?
Okay, so it's not always the super obvious stuff like, the yelling and screaming.
Ah, right.
It can be a lot more subtle, like condescending remarks here, micromanaging there, or always taking credit for other people's work.
Hmm.
And it creates this whole atmosphere of fear and anxiety where everyone's walking on eggshells all the time.
Makes sense. Now, the article mentioned a study about toxic leadership and employee burnout. Got any more info on that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There was this one study that found that folks working under a toxic boss, they were something like 60% more likely to have insomnia, anxiety, even depression.
Whoa, that's a big number.
Yeah. And it's no surprise then that their productivity tanks, they're calling out sick more often, and people are quitting left and right.
Hmm.
Research even suggests that companies with toxic cultures have a turnover rate that's 30% higher than those with healthy environments.
Wow. Think about the cost of constantly replacing skilled employees, not to mention all that knowledge walking out the door.
It's a huge
It's
loss.
like this ripple effect, right? Just spreads negativity and dysfunction throughout the whole organization. And this article didn't shy away from real world examples either, did it?
Nope, it dove right in.
Do me one.
Okay, so there's this case study about a tech company. They were like the industry leader until they promoted this super charismatic but totally toxic executive.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ah.
And pretty soon, innovation tanked, morale plummeted, their stock price went into a free fall, and all the talented engineers and developers bailed out to escape the toxic environment.
It's almost unbelievable how someone can appear so successful on the surface while creating such a mess underneath.
Right. That's why.
And it seems like organizations bend over backwards to protect these individuals, even when the damage is staring them right in the face. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. The article digs into some of the common excuses they use. It's pretty eye-opening to break them down one by one.
I'm ready. Let's do it. First up, the classic irreplaceable argument. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, sure, some people have really unique skills and
Yeah,
experience,
sure.
but the idea that anybody is truly irreplaceable, that's just not realistic.
Yeah, good point.
Organizations need to have backup plans, invest in developing talent from within.
That makes a lot of sense. Building a solid team of healthy leaders is way more sustainable than relying on one person, no matter how big their numbers are.
I totally agree.
Okay, what's next?
Oh, there's this one. They're just under a lot of pressure. Heard that one before.
A million times.
Of course, everyone faces pressure at work,
Yeah.
but that's never an excuse to be toxic.
Right.
True leadership is about navigating those high-pressure situations while keeping your cool and treating people with respect.
Absolutely. Leaders set the tone, they create the culture,
Yeah,
and it's got to be one where people feel safe and supported even when things get crazy.
bingo.
Okay, last but not least, there's the old we can't afford to lose their numbers argument.
Hmm.
The bottom line is king, right?
Ah, yes. The short-term thinking trap.
Yep.
Sure, it's tempting to focus on the immediate gains, but ignoring the long-term consequences of toxic behavior, that can cost you way more in the end.
Makes you wonder if they've even done the math, really.
The damage to morale, productivity, and reputation can really hit a company where it hurts their bottom line.
Penny wise and pound foolish, as they say.
Exactly.
So, if all these excuses are so flimsy, why do organizations keep falling into this trap of protecting toxic rainmakers?
Well, the article suggests it boils down to a misunderstanding of what really defines success.
Go on.
We often get so fixated on those impressive numbers that we forget about the human cost of achieving them.
Hmm. We're neglecting the well being of our people, their engagement, the health of the whole organization.
It's a narrow view that ignores the big picture.
So, we need to redefine what success looks like, right? It's not just about profits and performance, it's about building a healthy and sustainable environment for everyone.
You got it. We need to move beyond the spreadsheets and start considering things like employee satisfaction, retention rates, even the ethical climate of the organization.
True success includes how we achieve those results, not just the results themselves.
Exactly.
And this article lays out 5 actionable steps to tackle this whole issue of toxic leadership, which I think are super valuable. Want to dive into those?
Let's do it.
Step 1, define the non-negotiables.
Okay, so this is about setting those clear boundaries and expectations for behavior.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what your position is or how much you're bringing to the table.
I like that. No more special treatment for the star performers.
Nope. Certain behaviors like bullying, harassment, creating a hostile environment, those are just unacceptable, period.
This is about creating a level playing field, right? Where
Yeah.
everyone is held to the same standards of conduct.
Exactly. It shows that the organization values respect and integrity above all else.
Powerful message.
Yeah, it takes strong leadership to enforce these boundaries consistently, though.
Absolutely. And what's next?
Step 2, measure the true impact of leaders.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Okay, so it's not enough to just look at the numbers they're delivering. We need a more holistic approach, right? We need to assess their real impact.
So, how they're achieving those results, their leadership style, their effect on team dynamics. Got it.
Yeah, are they fostering collaboration, building up their team members, creating a positive environment? Those are the things that lead to lasting success.
I agree. Leadership is more than just hitting targets.
Exactly. It's about creating that culture of respect, support, and growth, a place where people feel valued and empowered.
Love it. How do we make sure these evaluations are actually leading to change?
That's step 3, empowering HR.
Give HR the power, huh?
We need to give them the authority and the resources to do their jobs properly.
I see.
They need to conduct thorough investigations, address complaints, and hand down appropriate consequences when necessary.
No more sleeping things under the rug. No more protecting star performers just because they're bringing in the big bucks.
Exactly. Everyone is treated fairly and held to the same standards.
It's about time.
It needs strong leadership from the top, though. Leaders need to show that they're committed to a healthy and ethical work environment.
Walk the walk, right?
Yeah. If they're turning a blind eye to toxic behavior, everyone gets the message loud and clear. Results are more important than people.
And that's a recipe for disaster.
100%.
Okay, step 4, celebrate the right people.
Yes. Time to shift the focus.
Love it. Tell me more.
Instead of rewarding those who succeed at the expense of others, let's start recognizing the people who embody true leadership qualities.
So we're talking about the folks who encourage collaboration, who lift up their team members, who create that positive and supportive environment.
Exactly. It's not about who brings in the most money or closes the biggest deals.
It's about integrity, empathy, a genuine commitment to the well-being of the team.
Yes. Highlight those positive behaviors, reward them, and watch the culture shift.
People will be inspired to follow suit.
Exactly. And that's how you build a more supportive and collaborative workplace.
I like it. Okay, last one, step 5, leading with courage.
This one can be tough.
I bet.
It's about having the guts to confront toxic behavior no matter who it's coming from.
Even if it's the top performer.
Even then, you have to have those tough conversations, set clear boundaries, and be willing to make hard decisions.
Sometimes that might mean losing a golden apple.
Yeah.
But it's about putting the long-term health of the organization first.
You got it. And it's about protecting the well-being of the team.
True leadership isn't always easy. It's about doing the right thing, even when it's difficult.
That's the heart of it. And you know what? They actually use this analogy in the article.
Yeah, the one about saving a drowning person by throwing them an anchor, right?
Exactly. It's like you think you're helping by holding on, but you're dragging everyone down with you.
Such a powerful image. It really drives home the point about short-term thinking versus the long-term well-being of the whole organization.
It's about recognizing that true success goes way beyond just the numbers.
So what can our listeners do? How do we actually make a difference in our own organizations?
Well, the good news is this article doesn't just leave us with a bunch of doom and gloom,
Yeah.
and actually offers some pretty practical steps we can take.
All right, let's hear them. What stood out to me was the emphasis on being proactive.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of just reacting to toxic behavior after it's already caused damage, we need to create systems that prevent it from happening in the first place.
Systems, huh? Like what?
Well, think about it. What if, during the hiring process, instead of just focusing on technical skills, we also look at things like emotional intelligence, their ability to collaborate, communicate effectively.
That would be huge. Most companies talk about culture fit, but they rarely focus on those crucial aspects.
Exactly. And beyond hiring, what about professional development programs that teach leaders how to manage conflict, give good feedback, create positive team dynamics.
Investing in training that goes beyond the technical stuff and focuses on building those essential human skills.
Right. And we can't forget about leading by example.
Oh, of course. Setting the tone from the top down. If leaders at all levels are showing respect, empathy, and accountability, it creates a ripple effect throughout the organization.
For sure. Think about the message it sends when a CEO openly admits a mistake or praises someone for speaking up about a problem.
It creates this environment where people feel safe to be vulnerable, to learn from mistakes, to hold each other accountable without fear of getting punished.
And that's how you build a resilient organization, one where people feel valued and empowered to do their best work.
It makes you realize that investing in people isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.
Absolutely.
Mm.
When people feel supported and appreciated, they're more likely to be engaged, productive, and innovative.
It's a win-win all around.
Totally. And it all starts with understanding that true success encompasses way more than just the bottom line.
It's about creating a workplace where people can truly thrive, both professionally and personally. It makes you think about the legacy we're building, as leaders, as organizations.
Right. Are we so focused on the short term that we're sacrificing the long term? Are we letting toxic behavior slide because it's coming from a top performer?
Yeah.
Tough questions.
Definitely. And sometimes it's those subtle things, the ways we might be contributing to that toxic culture without even realizing it.
It takes courage to speak up, to challenge the status quo, to push for a healthier way of working.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we all deserve to work somewhere we feel valued, respected, and empowered. A place where we can do our best work without fear of being bullied or undermined.
That's how you build a truly successful organization, one that thrives not just financially, but also in terms of well-being and fulfillment for its people.
As we wrap up this deep dive, something's been on my mind.
What's that?
This whole conversation has been focused on toxic leaders, but what about the followers? What about our responsibility in all of this?
Oh, that's an excellent point. We always talk about leadership coming from the top down, but culture is built from the bottom up, too.
Yeah, absolutely. If we keep making excuses for a toxic boss or put up with bad behavior because we're afraid to speak up, aren't we part of the problem?
100%. We have a responsibility to hold each other accountable, to call out bad behavior when we see it, and to support those who are being targeted.
It's about recognizing that creating a healthy work environment is everyone's job. It's not just up to HR or the higher-ups, it's up to all of us.
Right. We need to be aware, we need to be courageous, and we need to be willing to speak up for what's right.
That's how we shift the tide away from accepting toxicity and move towards building workplaces where everyone can thrive.
I love that. So listeners, I want to challenge you. Think about your own experiences and ask yourselves, what can you do, even in small ways, to create a more positive and supportive environment?
It's true, isn't it? Even small actions can make a big difference. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it's given you some things to think about and maybe even some tools to spark some positive change in your own workplaces.